Hey everybody, I'm Erica Carlson with Bricks Real Estate, bringing you a weekly market report for our real estate news, mostly in Wright County, but I do use the Twin Cities market data as whole so we can understand what we're looking at, how we can interpret things. This information is going to be very useful whether you're considering buying a house or you own a house, you're just curious about how things are moving. Obviously, our house is our most expensive asset for most of us. And then if you are thinking about selling, you're really going to want to tune in to see when to time the sale. I mean, if you want to get the short answer, we're there. We're ready to go. Lots of people are ready to shop for houses. Do not wait for it to be green outside to make money or to make green. So without further ado, I would like to share my screen. And then just a heads up, I do have Molly Zimmerman joining us today. If you do want to just hear what she has to say, feel free to zoom ahead. We are talking about credit repair, things to keep our credit up and improve it. So just give me a moment here to show my screen. You can see the market meter has moved up a little bit. We are now more in a really balanced market. Yes, some properties are still going into multiple offers. That has never gone away. It really depends on the property. Typically the rule of thumb, and I hate to say it, but if you like it, somebody else does. So if you are very much needing a property quickly, do not wait. Do not think you have another week, another day. That's a mistake I see over and over people make. It's like, I have time. You might have time, you might not have time. So we're in that balance market between sellers and buyers. I imagine that market or that little star is going to continue to go towards sellers. So if you're not sure about that, I really think if you stay tuned every week, you'll see that with me. Overall inventory is down over last year, which means houses aren't necessarily moving slow or anything like that. It just means you have less choice. 39 days on market is the median date. That is kind of consistent like throughout the Twin Cities, that as a whole, that it takes about a month and a half. So if you see a house sitting on market at 40 days, it doesn't mean it's been on the market for a long time. Be careful with the words you're using. They do mean something. And if you don't really have a frame of reference, what is a long time? Gone are the days of most of these properties selling in one weekend. That expectation should be move to the side a little bit if you are a seller. Again, talk to your real estate agent, your particular city, what you are selling. You know, a condo is different from a townhouse, which is different from a house. Being on a lake, not a lake, there's all these variations. And then interest rates are hovering around 7%. It continues to be very volatile. I'm not a loan officer. The rate I'm giving you on the screen is a base rate, no discount points. It's not any particular lender. It's not your situation. So I have to say that because I truly am not a loan officer. I don't want to speak too highly about that. So we love to look at showing activity, and there's really no other way to do it other than me to sit down manually with a calculator. I have some ability to get into some data where I can figure out the average showings per week per listing. I'm only focusing on the 250 to 500 cane range, and I'm only looking at Wright County, and I'm comparing it to Hennepin County to give us perspective. Hennepin County traditionally always has more shoppers. There's more jobs, there's more population size, more houses. So it is not apples to apples. But because a lot of us are, I mean, my house personally is bordering on both. I happen to be on Wright County side, but had I bought a house, you know, a step over, literally, I would be in Hennepin County. So that's why I focus on these two counties. I can pull data for other areas, of course. So Hennepin County has had this huge increase. They were at 3.9 last week. They jumped up to 6.7, whereas Wright County just dipped down a little, going from 2.8 to 2.7. Let's talk about these numbers in real terms. If I am selling a house, I am expecting in Wright County to get about 2 to 3 showings per week. If I'm getting 4, 5, 6 up, great. I have a hot little property. It's priced right. I'm getting people in the door. That's what I want. That is my goal. I would love to be above the average, which means, of course, people are getting less showings than that. And it shouldn't make you panic. It might mean you're slightly overpriced. It might mean you need better pictures. It might mean the condition. Maybe the house has a smell. You know, you want to dig into those things. Don't be afraid of finding the answers. Hennepin County had this incredible uptick from 4 showings a week, which that's about what I was expecting for Hennepin County. And this week it jumped to 6 to 7 showings a week. that, I mean, going back to last week's video, I said 5.5 was a lot, January 10th, because again, compared to Wright County, it was remarkable. Again, what I saw was that upper price limit, that 500K had a ton of showing activity. So I don't know what house is drawing everybody's attention. It must be a series of houses. I cannot explain it. All we can do is look at the data and see, will it stay around that 6, 7? If so, then wow, we should be expecting tons of multiple offers, way too many people, like the demand ratio to inventory ratio is then going to be really off. And you will feel that if you're shopping in Hennepin County. Days on market has come down. 46 is the average, 21 is the median. That is a huge change. My data is far more accurate than what our association puts out, because our association is a couple months behind. I am looking at the last 7 days. So houses are selling quicker, which is always fun and interesting. I forgot to highlight the January 24th column, but look at it with me. We have seen a reduction in inventory. We had 450 last week. We have 444. Again, if you're shopping, you're going to feel that. We're talking about a couple houses, no big deal. It's just really unfortunate to see for home shoppers that the inventory is going in the wrong direction. So home sellers, don't be afraid to put your house on the market right now. Your inventory or your competition is not there. It's just not, like, I know my little green dots might look like a lot of houses. The number 400 sounds like a lot, but when you niche down into, I want 3 bedrooms, I want a 2-car garage, I want, you don't have 400 choices. I promise you, I don't. I never see anything over 200, and that's never accurate. And we can always niche down from there anyway. That last comment didn't make sense. I'm talking about when I'm doing a buyer's consult. I'm going to move on. I'm digressing. Pendings went up a little. That's great. Closings went down. Again, people went under contract 30 days, 45, 60 days ago. It was slower. It was the holidays. All of this had impact. So, I'm going to bring, actually, I know my screen doesn't match what I'm about to say. I'm going to bring Molly Zimmerman on to the call next. I did record this a little bit ago. We are talking about credit repair and what she can do to help you with that. Just giving some general advice before I bring her on. Notice on my screen, I can always offer you a free market report, no strings attached. You just go to the link I'm providing, whether you're finding me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. This video is all over the place. I'd love for you to like and subscribe and follow me. Lots of other information that I provide other than market reports. And I'm always just a phone call or a text or an email away. Same with Molly. We'd absolutely love to have you. All right, everybody. So today I have Molly Zimmerman back with us from Bell Mortgage Bank to talk to us about credit repair or credit improvement. But before I ask my question, I just want to remind you that if you do have questions for Molly, I'd love for you to reach out to her at her website, which is really easy to remember, and I'll put it on the screen, mollyzimmerman.com. You've made it extremely easy for people to remember how to find you. And of course, if you just Google us, we both will come up in the Google world somehow. Now, my name's super popular, so you do have to push Realtor, Minnesota. Apparently, there's a couple of famous Erica Carlsons around the globe, which I've learned doing real estate. So there's my random thought for the day. So our topic again was, what we were thinking about is credit repair, credit improvement. This is such a huge conversation in both of our worlds, because if people want to take that leap and buy their first house or their next house, there's minimum requirements and there's components of job history and other things. And I heard somebody say today, Molly, that when you, I don't know if I should say this, they say it's a financial colonoscopy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to remember that, because I think it is a little scary to open your world and say, come look at my financials, but we have to start somewhere to help you figure out if you're going to get a loan or not. So what were some of the tips and tricks you were thinking about to keep that credit score up, or do things to improve if you think you're kind of on the cusp?
So I mean, that's just it. I like the analogy of a colonoscopy, but really my job is to not make it that challenging or scary. And really, credit programs require a certain credit score. So, I mean, that's first and foremost, is you have to make sure that you have a credit score that is registering to the credit reporting agencies. And if you feel like your score might be a little bit on the lower end, I think the biggest focuses would be, first and foremost, don't miss payments. Even if it means making minimum payments to every single account that you have out there. If that's what you have to do, just do not miss a payment.
Right.
Types of credit are also important. So, I mean, looking at installment versus revolving.
Okay.
We really like to see a mix of debt. That's what, scores are going to be more favorable if there's a mix of credit out there. But with that being said, with a revolving account, the key is to really keep your balance low in comparison to your limit.
Right.
So I like to throw out to buyers, like, if you can, keep it below 30% of your limit, if it's at all possible, or if you can't, maybe just continue to try to pay down a higher balance account as much as you can, just to keep getting that usage lower. And excuse me, another thing that's really important is just the length of debt. So with that being said, sometimes consumers get really excited. They pay off an account and it might be like an account they've had out there for 5-6 years. And they're like, should I close this account? Don't do that. The further, back we have in depth for credit is actually going to be beneficial to your credit score. So keeping things really simple, I think that's the most important that you can do. And also, like, don't shop a lot for new credit if you can, because every time credit is pulled, it can negatively impact your scores. So being very mindful of what you're doing is super important.
And I think like the part that I didn't know before I became a realtor is that there's people like you that will answer questions. So if you're thinking about home ownership and you're not sure, should I take out this Home Depot credit card versus a Visa versus this one that gives me points? What I've learned in this business is there's, I don't know, should I say quality, right? Or that's going to get back to you. So the type of card, like maybe you want the Maurice's card because you want to go shopping for new clothes, but maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know why I picked on Maurice's, but like a Best Buy or I don't know. Like, I feel like isn't it right? Am I correct? Like there's a quality difference between these credit lines.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is just to have that mix of credit. And I think, credit cards, if you have a lot of them, if you're opening 10 department store accounts, it's not going to positively impact your score. Maybe stick to a couple accounts and then just watch what your usage is in comparison to your limit.
Yeah. I think the part that, if I'm being really honest, it's that 30% you brought up earlier, where I don't know that a lot of people know how to calculate what that looks like. And, when am I supposed to send that payment in? Because isn't there like a science to, by the time it registers? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed now. Like I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I honestly don't have any credit cards. So I'm done with that part of my life. But see, this is where we're all in different places. And before I forget, I have to say, no, like 2 people who want to buy a house, no credit is bad credit. Like,
right.
We have to bring you may have lived in a lifestyle where your parents always rented, always paid cash. That was what was taught to you. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a great plan when you want a really big loan.
Right. I would agree. And I mean, the thing is, they look at total revolving utilization. So that kind of takes me back to, let's say that you pay off a credit card that had a $5,000 credit limit, but then you eliminate that from your usage. Suddenly your usage percentage goes up because they're going to look at the total balances of your account in relation to your total credit limits. So it's kind of like combining it all into one versus each separate account. But with that being said, I mean, you still want to keep your balances lower on each account if you possibly can.
Yeah. I just had like a little flashback of somebody who paid off their house and they were so excited. And then they thought they were going to qualify for more. And we had to explain, actually, that was like really detrimental because you lost your biggest trade line. Poof, it's gone. So like, yes, your life is easier because you're not paying that payment anymore. However, that is going to, and I don't know for how long. And again, that's why I work with professionals. Like, these are free questions. They're free answers. We don't have to, it doesn't have to be a 3-hour meeting. If you have a simple question that is going to lead you to your goal, that's our job as professionals, is to answer those questions. And we don't mind doing it. Did we forget anything we were going to cover today?
I think the biggest thing, just touching back on the house thing, you're absolutely correct, because we've seen mortgages come off of a credit report and we've actually seen scores go down.
Yes,
But I think
what I meant.
why it's so important that even if you're thinking about doing something in terms of, selling, buying, um, talk to a lender up front. I always tell clients it's never too early to start, because I will literally work with you for 3 years if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're in the best place you possibly can be to purchase a property. And sometimes that does involve, maybe debt consolidation or getting a credit counseling agency involved, like somebody that can dive deeper and really help you improve your credit.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw out on that one though, to run it by you first, because I'm
Absolutely,
afraid
100%.
not
Yes.
every credit repair company is worth the money. No offense if someone's listening in today. We're not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I don't know that they're all created equally. And and you're in your background, you may alone be able to guide somebody
I
without.
do as much as I possibly can before suggesting somebody even go down that avenue. And even then, I really stress doing your homework on that company itself. But yeah, there's things that we can do. We can go through credit in depth, and we can come up with a game plan to get you on the right track.
Ah, perfect. All right. Well, I always appreciate your time and energy. Thank you for joining us today. I am Eric Carlson. I'm with Bricks. I appreciate that you made it to the end of the video. My website is iheartmplshomes.com if you want to learn about me, if you want to start your home search, if you want to discuss potentially selling your personal property or an investment property. I would love to be your resource for the West Metro. Have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday.